"You will die cursed." These dramatic words may be the most ancient inscription of the Israelites ever found, dating back to the Bronze Age, 3,200 years ago. Several weeks ago, the small tablet carrying these words was unveiled by Dr. Scott Stripling, the director of the Archaeological Studies Institute at the Bible Seminary in Katy, Texas.
And there's three metrics that we used. Number one was the type of script. So the epigraphic script, we can tell by the style of letters the century that it fits in. And so there's no doubt that this is a proto-alphabetic script. There's no doubt that it's from the late Bronze Age. Number two, we had the lead tested. And Professor Yahalom Mack at Hebrew University did the testing of the lead. And we found that it was from Greece, an area of Greece known as Lavrion, where there were mines that we know were active during the late Bronze Age. And then number three, we have the archaeological context.
The story behind the discovery of the tablet goes back to the 1980s. Acclaimed archaeologist Professor Adam Zartal found a magnificent structure on Mount Ebal overlooking the Palestinian city of Nablus and in front of Mount Gerizim, a sacred site for the Samaritans. He identified this site as Joshua's altar. The book of Joshua 8 says, "Then Joshua built on Mount Ebal an altar to the Lord, the God of Israel, as Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded the Israelites. He built it according to what is written in the book of the law of Moses, an altar of uncut stones, on which no iron tool had been used."
What do we have in the Bible? We have a national ceremony where all the people of Israel, not just the elders or the men, but also the women, the children, the foreigners, everybody convenes here at Mount Ebal. An altar is built on Mount Ebal to sacrifice on, and a ceremony of blessings and curses where the Israelites are saying amen to curses that are being uttered by the priests. In other words, the Israelites are self-inflicting on them curses if they don't follow the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and his laws. And so when we find an inscription that is a curse inscription on Mount Ebal, the place where the ceremony of the blessings and the curses occurred, a place that is acknowledged by, I believe today, the majority of archaeologists as being a cultic site dating from the time of the Israelite settlement of this area. It's more than a coincidence. It cannot be a coincidence.
But over the years, some scholars have rejected Zartal's identification of Joshua's altar.
Most of the scholars do not accept this interpretation. The famous Harvard University professor Steger said that if this would be an altar, we have to all to go back to the kindergarten. No altar. There is a building there, a room filled with
material from the original excavations. In 2019, the tablet was discovered and moved to a tomographic scan.
I think it has an enormous impact upon that, because the argument is based on the fact that the scholars you're mentioning believe that it could not have been written in the early periods, in the time of Moses and Joshua, because they did not have literacy. There was not a phonetic alphabet with which they could have written. People can no longer argue that with a straight face. It's clear that there was a phonetic alphabet already in use at that time by which the ancient text could have been written. What they'll tell you is that you have the Yahweh source, the J, or the Jehovah Yahweh source. You have the Elohim or Elohist source, which uses the other name of God, El. And then you have a deuteronomistic source, and you have a priestly source, and they're written in different time periods and then redacted and all brought together. That's their theory. In this inscription, you have El and Yahweh right next to each other.
What was the purpose of this tablet? And how is it connected to the site? Many questions are still unresolved. But this research opens a gate to a whole new understanding of the evolution of the Jewish faith and the history of the Holy Land.